According to Dianna Russini of The Athletic, she put out a report, quote, "At this point in the season, people around the league believe that Mayo's coaching staff is safe." And this was in response. She literally quote tweeted, Andrew Callahan of the Boston Herald put out a great article being the Patriots were outcoached, which we all agree with.
We knew that.
It was the lack of coaching a win, and it was a lack of defensive adjustments.
That's right.
All of that. She quote tweeted that and said that. This is interesting because you go back a week, Albert Breer reported the Crafts were calling around for advice on developing young quarterbacks.
That's right.
We said, hey, that means Alex Van Pelt, Elliott Wolf, Jerod Mayo, wake up. Then Russini says the coaching staff is safe. Crafts hiding behind league reporters, in my opinion, but trying to take the heat off Mayo a little bit.
I'm not surprised by this news, though. You always felt that way. Everyone was telling me the guy's going to be safe. Meanwhile, I was saying, I don't care who you are. If you win 1 or 2 games in this league, you're canned. I do think he's done enough. I'll be honest. I think that Bears game did it. And we talked about that immediately after that game where you see what rock bottom coaching looks like.
But that shouldn't be your standard.
It shouldn't be. I'm not saying it's right, but I do think he gained a lot on that particular game where it was like, okay, this guy's not terrible. This is what terrible looks like. And it was like, meaning he can continue to ascend. He can continue to move in the right direction. In other words, there's room for growth. And we'll see. You know, my gut is they're going to stick with this guy and Elliott Wolf another year. Let's throw him in there too because we've had conversations about that. We'll see about Van Pelt. Although I know they say he's safe. I mean, if they bottom out the rest of the way, someone's got to get blamed. And clearly it's not going to be Jerod Mayo or Elliott Wolf. So Van Pelt could be on the move, depending what we see the rest of the way here. But I look at Mayo and Wolf, and I think, why give them another season when the sample size you've seen, in my opinion, is enough to move off of them? I would rather, with the cap space the Patriots have, with the we think high draft pick that the Patriots will have. We'll see where it ends up, but we all feel as though it should be top 10, knock on wood, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've already seen Elliott Wolf with some of these draft classes, and then this last season, obviously Drake May is a no-brainer. You take Drake May, but outside of that, the draft class is trash, if you ask me. Jerod Mayo, okay, you could say, well, to your point, you know, the standard shouldn't be rock bottom, but he's not the worst coach in the league. I think that's clear. But at the same time, does anyone really believe this guy can become elite? Does anyone believe he can get in the Sean McVay, the Kyle Shanahan, even though things are hot for him right now, the Andy Reids of the world, even a DeMeco Ryan, who should be a comp for Jerod Mayo.
Yeah.
But DeMeco Ryans came out 5 minutes and was coaching his arse off.
The sound football team, yeah.
So I just don't understand sort of what the thought process is. Well, let's just give him another year for what?
Well, you commit.
For what?
But you want to take your time to say the coaching staff is safe. And again, around the league believe that Jerod Mayo's coaching staff is safe.
Right. Quote.
Also, and to compare Jerod Mayo to DeMeco Ryans, quarterback, check.
Yeah.
DeMeco's defense, better. DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud's wide receiving room, better.
Game management.
Yes, but I'm saying he also has a more talented roster than DeMeco Ryans, where you have to work with. Offensive play caller, more advanced, more experienced, better as well for DeMeco Ryans. What gets me when I see the coaching staff is safe is that I'm surprised because the defense has continually been terrible all season long, aside from the Bears, who had an offensive coordinator that clearly was inept and a dead man walking as he was given his unemployment papers next week. This defense continually has looked terrible. And look at their matchup. Again, it's just like the simplicity of adjustments and knowing your personnel, where Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp went absolutely off on the Patriots defense. Accounted for 70% of their targets. Were never double teamed. And watching back, the first trip to the red zone, first Cooper Kupp touchdown, Puka Nacua is not on the field. Cooper Kupp is on the right side of the line of scrimmage. Christian Gonzalez is the opposite side of the ball, all by himself, no receiver on his side of the field. And you have Sione Takitaki, who played 3 coverage snaps on Cooper Kupp. That's why Cooper Kupp was so open. Then you go on a third down pass, you're blitzing Gonzalez. Look, I get the creativity, but if you want to blitz a corner, take one of your worser corners, take them out of coverage, and have your better guys in coverage. And with Jerod Mayo coming out and going, well, we controlled the clock, we controlled time of possession. Yeah, you were plus 15 minutes in time of possession, but the success rate that the Rams had was absolutely insane. Like, I think over 80%, which is unheard of in a game. Their first scoring drive, I showed you the plays. I go, look, that's an 86% success rate.
That's right.
Because there was no push. The run game is still averaging over 5.5 yards per carry, and they didn't even have to control it. And yeah, well, they only went, 1 for 8 on third down? They only faced 8 third downs all game.
Yeah.
Because they were getting so far ahead on first and second down. This defense has been terrible. Yes, it's dealing with a lot of injuries, but it's a lack of adjustments. And when you have a defensive-minded head coach and a defensive coordinator, first time at DeMarcus Covington, that's where I go, I don't know if they're safe.
Yeah, I guess the coordinators could be, but again, I still think about big picture, macro. And I think about the cap space. I think about the draft pick, top 10, we think. And I'm just like, man, you have the young quarterback. All of a sudden, New England, when Belichick leaves, maybe it's not, on the level of being one of the best jobs in the league. It's the Patriots. It's always going to be a top job. But there were other available vacancies that were hotter on the market at the time.
Yeah.
I think now, a year removed from Belichick, if you admit, Robert Kraft, that this doesn't work and you sort of clean house in terms of front office and staff, because I'm not letting Elliott Wolf off the hook. I think that's maybe where you and I disagree, is I think you would maybe consider keeping Wolf and you would move off of the coach. I want everyone gone, okay? I'm Game of Thrones here. So I say that to say, if I'm on the open market with all of these assets that I just said to you, where's New England in terms of hot jobs? Yeah. Obviously, we think some of these jobs that are going to come open are going to be sexier. I mean, I had my eye. I told you this from the beginning of the season. I had my eye on the Bay. Yeah. I think that 49er job could be open, and everyone thinks I'm nuts. But I'm just saying, I think there'll be other jobs that could be maybe above the Patriots. But certainly, that would, if you were to move on from Jerod Mayo and Elliott Wolf, man, that somebody's going to hit a pretty good jackpot right there to inherit a quarterback.
Yeah.
All that cap space, a top 10 draft pick. I mean, just say it out loud. That is a beautiful thing to walk into.
Yeah.
And I would hope that if you were to move off this coaching staff, which they're not, but if you were, you would go to a more experienced, big name coach.
Look, if anything for the coaching staff changes, it won't be Jerod Mayo, because that'd be Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft admitting they're wrong.
Yes.
So they can't do that. There's always going to be the fall guy.
Right.
Right now, it won't be Alex Van Pelt, because the development of Drake May has been good.
Sure.
Now, some of the play calling situations, like when you're on the Rams 5-yard line, 7-yard line, you run on incomplete on first, run on second, run on third, you end up on their 2, and you decide to kick a field goal. That's on the head coach and offensive coordinator.
Hey, there's also time for Drake May to regress. If he regresses, maybe Van Pelt isn't off.
We'll see. We'll see. We could even go back to Alex Van Pelt was fired as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Bring him in as a quarterback's coach if he's known about developing. Sure. He's still going to make that money from the Browns no matter what. But that's neither here nor there. I think it would be DeMarcus Covington to be the one. Now, I did mention the Breer reports from last week. Actually, Jerod Mayo on Monday on the Greg Hill show talked about those reports. Here he is right here.
Like, all those reports are false.
They're all false.
They're all false.
None of those
reports are true.
None of those reports are true. Okay.
And if they, but the thing about it, once again, like, it's almost like talking out of both sides of our mouths. Like, we're sitting here saying, like, he's developing great, and then they sit here and the story come out that people are asking around how to develop a quarterback. The one thing that, being a head coach, I need to make sure I do a good job protecting our coordinators, our coaches, and also the players on the field. And so when you hear one person, Drake's not developing, another person, Drake's at a great place, like, who do you think's responsible for that? It's Alex Van Pelt. He's responsible for that. And so why even call around to ask how to develop a quarterback? Yet everyone in the New England area, you just said Sean McVay included on the West Coast, is like, hey, this guy's developing at a good rate, and he's going to be a good football player in this league.
So, you know why you call around? Because, the Crafts have been in football for 30 years as ownership. So they obviously know people. Past that walk through the door, whether it's still in football or not. But you know why you call around, to your point, where they go, what do we have to do to get the players around this guy?
Yep.
And we need to go with our list and it's going to be an informed list to the general manager. Again, I don't mind the Krafts doing this. I hate that it got leaked because you're undermining the head coach, you're undermining the GM, you're undermining everything there, and you're showing your face of saying, we don't trust the guys in that building. That's why you make those calls, and this is what it is. Jerod Mayo is going to walk out there. He was also asked, like, he said, we have open communication, I have a great relationship, and he's saying that's not true. It's true. Like, Albert Breer does a really good job at reporting the NFL.
Yeah.
And like I said to you, this is the Krafts calling him and going, hey, put this out so it shows we're doing something, man. Yeah, we have a hand in this success.
Right.
And then they saw the kickback, and they go, oh.
Yeah, we blew it.
So, Dianna Russini with the reports are safe is one way to put out a fire. And now, with everything going on with your head coach, you're putting it on him to have to go on the radio show and lie on your behalf.
Well, it doesn't sound like it because, I mean, listen, he's on the radio show. It sounded kind of like defensive of Alex Van Pelt. Bro, I mean, you're the head coach. You're the CEO. It's on you, too. I mean, he's very much like, well, who do you think developed him? Alex did. So if you're calling around, that's undermining Alex. Bruh, Alex is on your staff. It's undermining all of us. And you're the main guy, so it's really undermining you.
But you know what I'll take is that a head coach that will stand up for his assistants, stand up for his players, at least in that one.
Then I need him to be like, look, you know, an attack on Drake May's development and Alex Van Pelt is an attack on all of us, on all my staff. That's why I'm telling you, if they're looking for a scapegoat, it'll be these coordinators. I think both of them could be in trouble, depending what happens. There's so much football left. Look, you go out, you beat the Colts, and you beat, but that's a winnable game. You go out, you beat the Colts, and you beat the Bills in a meaningless. You know what I mean? What's that? 5 wins.
Yeah, it's 1 win better than last year.
You got 1 win better than last year. We got our quarterback of the future. You can talk yourself into anything.
Your 4 wins coming from week 9 through 18.
Right. That's what I mean. You could talk yourself into anything. But if the bottom comes out from here, and they lose the Colts game.
Yeah.
The Bills don't take the foot off the gas because maybe they made that mistake in the past. Remember, Bills have a long laundry list of choking in the playoffs.
Bills
so maybe
will be
want to
fighting
finish
for that 1 seed.
Well, good point.
So that changed. Remember, you and I were sitting back,
everything.
And we kept saying, "Well, they'll be in the playoffs." They need that 1 seed.
Bro, the road to the Super Bowl coming through Buffalo would be clutch.
I mean,
not that Mahomes,
last year.
Not that Mahomes hasn't won there before.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But I agree to that point. Like, you beat the Chiefs. Now you control being the 1 seed.
Good point.
You need outside help because you have 2 losses. They have just 1. But that changes that Bills game.
It changes everything. But that's what I mean. If you don't win any more games, George.
It is having why we like the Bears win, a competent, smart football team. I need to see that over wins and losses. I'm going to be 100% with you.
Okay, fair.
And that would be, I'm keeping AVP, I'm keeping DeMarcus Covington.
Well, then we have another test this week.
Yeah,
because McDaniels can coach.
What is, if they finish with 3 wins, but they're smart and competent, and I like what I see and I believe it, I'd be patient. If they win 5 games and it's because the Bills benched all their starters and the Colts stink because you beat Anthony Richardson, I'd be like,
I'm not
performance,
patient.
man. It's not black and white.
I hate the report. I don't like that the coaching staff is safe. For what?
Yeah. And especially defensively.
What they lose out.
What I hate in all this, again, you're talking about, well, how Jerod Mayo should have handled it this way and that way, which I hear you on that, valid. Jerod Mayo shouldn't have had to handle this at all. If you're the Krafts, you don't let this get out. Just stop.
Fair.
Just stop trying. You know who the favorite owners of teams are? The owners you don't know about.
The quiet ones that just write the checks.
Go to New York. Mayors aren't loved.
Yeah.
Go to Dallas. Jerry is hated.
What about that Rams dude? I think he's Walmart money, right? He lets McVay run it. I mean, smart guy, right?
He's cheap as hell, but
he is cheap. But think of all the trades and the wheeling and dealing. Yep.
Let the football people do it. Steve Bisciotti.
Yep.
Ravens owner. Let the football people do it.
Facts.
Dan Snyder hated.
Yeah.
Josh Harris owns the Commanders. We forget about that.
That's right.